Hello and welcome to Agueda for the Portuguese Grand Prix. It's round 7 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. And as you can see, the weather outside, if you're joining us for the first time this weekend, absolutely atrocious. It's a long drizzle, has been drizzling through the night since about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. We thought that during the European MX125 race a short while ago, the sun was coming out. We thought we'd be okay for this first MX2 race, but the drizzle is back and it could be a tough race for the guys in MX2 race 1. The 1500-meter long circuit here in Agueda. Softer surface than we had at Saint-Jean-d'Angely 1 week ago. There, of course, it was pretty hard packed, hilly. Here it's a little bit softer and obviously wet now. Yesterday was perfect conditions. Nice and dry, good grip, good traction all the way through and around the circuit. And got pretty bumpy as well, I have to say. But by the qualifying races, the clouds started to come over, and that drizzle that you see now on screen is what the riders faced in the qualifying race yesterday. We're going down to the start line area. Here's Amy.
We are down on the start line for the MX2 Race 1. Joining me, Alessandro Lupino. Now, you've probably already heard about the earthquakes to hit northern parts of Italy last month. Husqvarna running something a little bit different on their bike this weekend. So, Alessandro, you take it away, you tell me about it.
Yeah, with this the stickers, we want to help all the people with earthquake, because in Italy it was a big problem. And then also all the people, and now we don't live anymore in the house. And I hope we can be faster and back in the normal life, because now we have a lot of problem. But with stickers, we help a lot the people.
Thank you, Alessandro. And we're going to also grab a quick word with Mel Pocock. We saw him last weekend cleaning up the 250s. He's back on the MX2 start line with us this weekend. How are you feeling? What's the aim?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. It's nice to be back out in the World Championship here. The game, keep my goggles clear, get a good start. It's going to be tough for the vision out there. It's pretty wet and the rain is like on and off, so yeah, get a good start and run up there in the top 10 and have a good strong finish.
Thanks, Mel. We'll wish you all the best. Now, before we see the MX2 race, we're going to take a look behind the scenes at Honda Garibaldi Esta. You're back in the MX2 Championship. How are you finding it?
Yeah, very exciting to be back in the championship with a good team. You know, I have good people behind me. Like, we have a strong bike and everything is going good. Only before the Mexico, I crashed and I broke my elbow. This was like a pretty big bummer for everybody, for my team, for me. And yeah, now we just try to get back strong and faster how I can. And yeah, look forward to this weekend.
How are you feeling coming into this weekend?
I feel good, but my elbow doesn't feel so good at the moment. But yeah, we try. I know it will be pain, but I will try to do my best and see what I can do, take some points.
Giacomo, talk me through the decision to change manufacturers for this year.
It was in fact a big decision, because after 7 years with Yamaha, we thought at the end of the last season that we had maybe a better opportunity with Honda, because they didn't have a team in the MX2 class. So otherwise they have many teams in Yamaha has many teams in MX2. So we thought it was a good move for Honda to have a team there, and so we took that opportunity. We are not a full factory team, but we got full support from the MX1 factory team. We are getting now more and more factory parts from Japan, like for example from this race we'll have the factory forks full air Kayaba, which are working really well, and for the rest of the season we expect to have more parts from the factory. We've got this big sponsor, Esta Group, which is a huge company in Russia for gas extraction, and beside those ones we have a new energy drink. It's an American energy drink, Arma Energy, and so we are very well covered for the season.
Max, talk me through your season so far.
We started off relatively well in Valkenswaard and Bulgaria, getting a few top fives, and you know, started off pretty strong. And then we headed to Mexico and Brazil. We struggled a little bit there. You know, it was a whole new ball game for everyone, and we struggled a little bit with the altitude and getting the whole setup and bringing all the little pieces together. But no, now we're back in the game. We're in Portugal. It looks nice. I like the track here, so we're going to go out and have a lot of fun and hopefully get close to that podium. I've had a good year, you know, being thrown in the deep end with going to Italy. They don't speak any English, so I'm learning. My my Italian's getting better. So no, it's been good in Italy, and I've really found a good team here and a good base. And I finished my first semester of college, which was pretty cool. So I'm now a real genius in accounting and multimedia. So yeah, I'm quite happy that I finished that. So now it's race time. Get on that podium. That's the goal. Go fast.
Max, talk me through your season so far.
Have I got to do it?
No, you don't.
Já tivemos a oportunidade também de conversar com estes dois pilotos.
Jeffrey Hurlings was our pole position winner yesterday after winning the qualifying race on Saturday. He won quite convincingly as well in the end, 15 seconds clear of Tommy Searle on the Fluid Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, just there at number 100. But Hurlings did get away slightly quicker than Tommy Searle. Tommy Searle getting away in around about 5th, 6th position as he came round on the first lap. Max Anstey there, we just saw him. He started down in 14th, worked his way up to 11th, so he's going to be trying his luck from around the middle of the gate. That's how they qualified yesterday. Hurling, Searle, Van Hoorbeek, Roulants, Tellier, Tixier, Ferrandis and Coldenhoff. You'll see the rest. But spare a thought for Jake Nichols, who started in 7th. He was there for about 5 laps, and then the bike expired, the Nissan JM Racing KTM. So Jake Nichols is going to be right on the left as we look at it. And as you can see, the start line here into that first corner. A, we've got the weather. B, it's going to be greasy. C, he's at a big disadvantage anyway. He's got further to travel to get to that first turn. I spoke to him this morning. Wasn't sure if he was just going to go for it and try and see if he can get around the outside, or maybe the other option is, depending on how he gets the jump, of course, he can maybe swing across the back and hope that 1 or 2 people run wide, and he can just cut back and avoid any melee at the first turn, or maybe even at turn 2 at the top of the hill as well. Dave Nichol, our race director, bringing us under starters orders. The Monster Energy 15-second board goes up. The crowd are on their feet, and it's drizzling here, and it looks like we're in for a pretty wet day here in Portugal. Round 7 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. The 5-second board turns and the heads go down. Tommy Searle there, number 100 alongside him. Well, either side of him, the 2 Red Bull KTMs, and Hurlings gets a good jump, swings wide to go through turn 1. Tommy Searle gets squeezed to the inside. Up into the first corner they go. It's Hurlings from, well, it's the 3 KTMs at line astern, actually, pretty much. Tixier and Van Hoorbeek. Tommy Searle there in 4th place. In 5th position, going up one of the Nissan KTMs, it looked like. Not sure if it was Jake Nichols. If it was a pretty good start from the outside. Coldenhoff. Glenn Coldenhoff then. Jake Nichols did get a good start, showing up on our intermediate screen as in 6th position, and there he is, just dropping off there alongside Joel Roulant. So what a great start then for Jake Nichols from all the way on the outside, unless he was able to slot in somewhere else. But through the waves they go. Hurlings it is who leads. Van Hoorbeek in second. Tixier in third. Or is that... yeah, Tixier. And then Coldenhoff down the inside at the bottom of the hill. Then Tommy Searle. Then Jake Nichols. Valentin Tellier's got a good start as well. He's around about 7th or 8th. Roman Febvre, the European champion from last year. And Dylan Ferrandis, Joe Roulant's just a bit further back. The riders would have had their sighting lap not so long ago, but obviously in a race situation where you have to be forced to use different lines, suddenly you find out where the grip is and where it's a little bit slippery. You don't want to be doing it on the first laps here. Not when goggles are also going to be a vital part in this race. There's Jake Nichols going through. So over the line then for the first time, Jeffrey Hurlings has a 2-second advantage over Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Jordi Tixier. The 3 KTMs, first, second and third. Glenn Coldenhoff is in 4th position. Tommy Searle is 5th. Then the 45 of Jake Nichols in 6th, just coming through the right-hander now behind the green machine of Tommy Searle. Just behind them, we've got Valentin Tellier on that black Bud Racing Kawasaki. Then we got Roman Febvre, Dylan Ferrandis, Joe Roulant's in 10th. Arnaud Tannous is in 11th position. Then we have Jose Boutron, Mel Pocock, Peter Petrov, Max Anstey in 15th. Lurk Larier, Kenny Van Duren, Julian Lieber, Kevin Fors and Evan Habe. As we look at a replay of the start, we're on board with Jose Boutron, who had a big crash at the end of the first lap going down by pit lane in the qualifying race yesterday. Jake Nichols railed the outside there. He did. Look at that. What a great move that was. Ballsy, I have to say, but it paid off for him. Valentin Guyot down in 21st. Lupino 22nd. Alexander Tonkov riding still with that fractured elbow in 23rd place. Prit Ratsep, Harry Kulas, Jens Getterman. Who else is down there that shouldn't be? Elliot Banks-Brown right down at the bottom end of the field as well. So the HM Plant KTM UK rider not really having any luck in his Grand Prix season, unlike his European Championship teammate James Dunn, who came home a fine 2nd place in the second moto earlier on this morning. Got him 3rd overall in the championship as well, James Dunn. But up front we've got Hurlings and Van Hoorbeek, 2 teammates duking it out. Was 2.2 seconds at the end of the first lap, but Van Hoorbeek looking interested here. We asked him in our team report, which you'll see a little bit later on in the MX1 race, about how far he is away from the podium, and I think his answer was pretty interesting, as Tommy Searle looking to find a way past Glenn Coldenhoff. And Tommy Searle could have done with a slightly better start. 5th isn't so bad, but when you've got laminates on top of roll-offs and that kind of thing, and you're following in these wet sandy conditions, the question is how long before Tommy Searle has to or needs to discard those goggles due to poor visibility. He won't be the only rider if that's the case, of course. Running alongside Coldenhoff, though. Going to try and square him off. He had a nice line through here yesterday in the qualifying race. Got up the inside of more than one rider as he came through the field, but wasn't quite able to go tight enough. Jake Nichols there as well, sandwiching Tommy Searle between him and his teammate Coldenhoff, and this is a battle for 4th position. Tommy Searle there in 5th on that green Kawasaki. Over the step up. The rain teeming down here in Portugal. That gap at the head of the field between Hurlings and Van Hoorbeek, only 1.5 seconds now. So they're not getting too far away from this battle here, although Tommy Searle still around about 7-8 seconds down on those leaders. He was fast yesterday, but just couldn't quite get close enough to Hurlings in the qualifying race in the end. Oh, back end just pitching out as he entered that corner into the wave section, far end of the circuit. There's Jake Nichols, 45. 101, Samuel Zaney. 249, Nick Larson, and 77, Alessandro Lupino, all getting caught up there. So Lupino having a bit of a nightmare ride in the moment, but Tommy Searle looking interested, looking to go down the inside of Coldenhoff. In fact, he's been passed by Jake Nichols. No, he hasn't. So 25, Coldenhoff, sorry. So Tommy Searle now into 4th position. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was the fastest man on track last time around, hence the gap coming down from 2.2 to 1.6 seconds. But as they go over the line now, be interesting to see what the gap is. Hurling sets the fastest lap, goes out at 1.9 seconds. Tommy Searle has a slight bit of clear track ahead of him. Needs to close down Jordi Tixier as fast as possible, because the championship situation, 22 points a difference between Jeffrey Hurlings and Tommy Searle. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek just a few points further back. So he's going to want to try, if he can. Oh, we've got yellow flags. Running down in towards turn one. Right, it might be Julian Lieber actually on the LRT Motorsports KTM. Number 33 might have been. If that's the case, he's crashed out of 20th position, but just looking on the lap chart, no, he's over the line safe. So it wasn't Julian Lieber, or was it actually? Still waiting for him to come through. So the early stages of the race then. Jeffrey Hurlings, number 84, Rebel KTM Factory Racing. Looking comfortable, leading his teammate. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek there in second, just coming through the waves there, number 89. These two pretty good friends as well. Tixier, 8 seconds further back. And he's about to come under pressure from Tommy Searle on the Fluid Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. That's them going in the opposite direction, out of the right-hander, dropping downhill. Glenn Coldenhoff down in fifth. Jake Nichols, his teammate on the Nissan GM Racing KTM. A great sixth position for him at the moment, considering where he had to start from all the way to the outside. Valentin Tellier, Bud Racing Rockstar Kawasaki is seventh. Roman Febvre, Bodo Schmidt Motorsport KTM is eighth. Dylan Ferrandis ninth. Joel Roulance is 10th. Arnold Tonis Monster Energy Yamaha is 11th. Jose Boutron on the Diga Racing KTM is 12th, ahead of Mel Pocock. Max Anstey on the Garibaldi Honda Ester machine, with Petrov on the Rockstar Suzuki. Leria, Valentin Guillot, Kevin Fors, Harry Kulas and Kenny Van Duren rounding out the top 20 at the moment. Tommy Searle just going through there a moment ago. The two Nissan GM Racing KTM teammates, Coldenhoff and Jake Nichols, 25 and 45. About to come under attack from the 37. The Kawasaki of Valentin Tellier. Nichols tries to come around the outside of his teammate to force a move down there, but that's not going to go to plan. Going to be side by side over the tabletop. Coldenhoff just getting the distance on Nichols. This, the battle for fifth place. 25, Coldenhoff there at the moment. Nichols goes to the inside. Going to take a wider sweep and square off maybe. Goes a little bit too deep though, does Jake Nichols. Seventh in the championship at the moment. There's the young Brit there, number 45. Valentin Tellier in the red, just behind him, closing in. So too, Roman Febvre. The number 461 and Joel Roulance. So this is going to be a five-way scrap for fifth place. Through the waves they go. Joel Roulance just off the back of that group. Valentin Tellier gets the distance. Looking to make a move on Jake Nichols, who goes the wide line. Tellier up the inside, leaves Nichols nowhere to go, who loses a position. And the Frenchman, number 37, Tellier. Tommy Searle all over the back of Tixier, and he puts a squeeze on the KTM youngster. And he goes through in a third. So Tommy Searle now does have clear track, about 10 seconds. And it'll be interesting to see, not this time around, but the next lap, how much ground he has to make up and what his lap times are going to be. Here's the replay again. Tommy Searle goes to the outside, gets on the gas. Tixier gets hung up on the inside. Tried to fight back though. Searle already knew what he was going to do. He knew that Tixier was going to run it down the inside. Kept it in there as long as possible though to Tixier. Could have lost a couple of spokes there in that challenge with the foot peg as well on the front wheel. But Tixier at the moment just now being nudged back to fourth with 25 minutes to go. Hurlings, Van Hoorbeek, Searle and Tixier, the top four. Tommy Searle was the fastest man on track that time around, a 1:56.0 compared to the 1:57.8 and the 1:57.5 of Hurlings and Van Hoorbeek respectively. So with 10 seconds to make up, with that kind of pace, Tommy Searle will be on the rear wheel of the two KTMs in no time at all. As we look back at the two leaders, Jeffrey Hurlings just going through. That's Van Hoorbeek, his teammate, in second. Tommy Searle, where is he? Just might see him passing that. Thought he'd just catch a glimpse of the top of the helmet or something going into that far right-hander into the wave section. Maybe even in the opposite direction here any moment now. Going downhill. They're already down halfway. So the gap between Tommy and Van Hoorbeek was pretty much 10 seconds. And there he is going up into the right-hander in the background, already putting a bit of distance between himself and Jordi Tixier. Coldenhoff is still in 5th place. Tellier is 6th. Jake Nichols dropped to 7th. Rouland's 8th. Fabre 9th. Tonus now 10th. Boutron 11th. Axtee 12th. Pocock 13th. Petrov is 14th. As we pick up. Is that Valentin Tellier? I think it is, yeah. And Glenn Coldenhoff. So Tellier's gone through on Coldenhoff as well, so moves up into 5th place. Rouland's coming in, starting to push Jake Nichols. Rouland's down in 8th on the Kawasaki. So Tellier, Coldenhoff, Nichols, Rouland as they go through there. Next rider in view, Romain Fabre. Over the finish line they go. 5 laps complete for our top runners. Hurlings 2.6 clear of his teammate Van Hoorbeek. Tommy Searle now in 3rd, 11 seconds down on Jeremy Van Hoorbeek of Belgium. Jordi Tixier is in 4th position, and we're looking at the battle here for 5th. Valentin Tellier, the lead rider, Glenn Coldenhoff, then Jake Nichols, and number 34, Joel Rouland there on that green Kawasaki, looking to find a way past the Nistan JM Racing KTM rider. Over the step up, a little bit short there for Rouland. Has to recorrect himself, loses a little bit of time going into that right-hander. Got all that to do again and makes another mistake. Trying to close in on Nichols. Up and over the triple jump there, no problems. Not sure who that was, but easily done. Get on the gas too early. Front end doesn't want to turn. Pulls the other way into the rut, and down you go. We're looking at the battle for 5th place. Valentin Tellier, Glenn Coldenhoff, Jake Nichols and Joel Rouland all lining up behind each other. Meanwhile, the fastest man on track with a 1:55.4, Jeffrey Hurlings, and extends his lead to almost 4 seconds over his teammate, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Tommy Searle a little bit further back in 3rd place. Still about 11 seconds down on that 2nd position. We're going down the pit lane.
I'm in the pit lane with Miguel Oliviera, joining us from Moto3. It's your first time at the Motocross World Championship. What are your impressions so far? Are you having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. This is really different from my sport. I'm really loving it, and I do also this motocross for training in the winter, but it's really different from what I do, and this is a really good experience.
Well, it's lovely to have you, and we hope you have a great weekend.
Back with the action though. Jake Nichols now trying to find a way back onto the rear wheel of his teammate Glenn Coldenhoff. They are fighting over 6th place at the moment. Jake Nichols making a great start from the outside after getting the last gate pick due to not finishing and probably being the first rider to go out of the qualifying race yesterday. He always knew that he had his work cut out. Option 1, go for it. That's exactly what he did. Came out inside the top 10. And that's going to be good points on the board for him as he goes back after Glenn Coldenhoff. Opposite direction, we just saw Tommy Searle coming down the hill. He's still there in 3rd position. Got a little bit of ground to make up, though, on Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. 14 seconds on Jeffrey Hurlings as well, our race leader. Still a constant drizzle outside on this Agueda circuit in Portugal, the 7th round of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. Arnold Tonus now up into 9th place on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Romain Fabre being pushed back to 10th. Max Anstey now climbing into 11th on the Garibaldi Honda Esta machine. Jose Boutron is 12th. Mel Pocock is 13th. Petrov 14th. Valentin Guillot. Dylan Ferrandis being pushed down to 16th, riding with a wrist injury. Remember, from the qualifying race in Saint-Jean d'Angély's home Grand Prix last week in France. Then we have Leclerc on the Ritchie Racing Husqvarna, so the lead Husqvarna in this first MX2 race. There's Boutron down in 12th place at the moment, number 17 on the Diga Racing KTM. And he's got just behind him there Mel Pocock. Oh, Petrov almost off the bike. That's where Boutron crashed big time yesterday in the qualifying race. Lost the front end and folded on him, and it just launched him down the track. So the sun's starting to shine a little bit through the clouds here. A bit of a nightmare for the goggles, really. They've gone out in clear lenses. The sun's going to start shining through. They're going to wish they maybe had some kind of smoke lens in there. Maybe one or two of them have, but roll-offs and tear-offs going through thick and fast at the moment. We've got yellow flags going up into turn 2. Or maybe even on the downside off the step up here, the step down. Couldn't quite see there, but that's Tonus. He was nice through here yesterday, pre-jumping his way off the top rather than trying to scrub his way through. And currently there in 8th position. He was in the press conference yesterday alongside Jeffrey Hurlings, which raised a few eyebrows, but they've kissed and made up, and he's back on the Christmas card list apparently, so all good between those two, which is good to see. Shook hands as well. Forgotten all about last week's little episode in that second moto, Arnold Tonus and Jeffrey Hurlings. And Arnold Tonus at the moment sitting there in 8th place. Pretty lonely for him at the moment. He's 7 seconds down on Jake Nichols, who's here still fighting with his teammate Glenn Coldenhoff there. Nichols in the background, number 45. Coldenhoff 25, just ahead of him in 6th position. We saw a flash of red as well. The 37 of Valentin Tellier still in 5th. But Tommy Sell not really making any ground on Jeremy Van Horby, which I think he'll be a little bit disappointed about, to be honest. But as we say, conditions not easy. They're going to be having to focus so hard on keeping good corner speed without making any mistakes. Get offline slightly, the ground a little bit deeper. Nichols gets good drive and runs down the inside of his teammate and takes away 6th place. Coldenhoff immediately fights back though, but is forced to go around the outside. So Jake Nichols now then moves up a position, goes into 6th. He's got Valentin Tellier just ahead of him in the next right-hander, or he was. Tellier opening up 2.5 seconds over these guys. So Nichols now then looking like he's found his rhythm. He may want to go after Valentin Tellier, and possible 5th position. There's Dylan Ferrandis coming in for clean goggles down in pit lane. So Dylan Ferrandis already out of the points then. Jeffrey Hurlings 8 seconds clear of his teammate Van Horbeek at the moment, having a pretty lonely ride at the front of the field. But Jake Nichols having a good ride here on the Nissan JM Racing KTM. Found a way past his teammate just half a lap ago. And he's looking to close down the 37 of Valentin Tellier, who's still there in 5th place. What's the gap between those two? 12 seconds actually between Tixier and Tellier in 4th and 5th. Joe Roulanceau. He's made a mistake because he's now behind Max Anstey. We saw him just make a couple of mistakes actually, either that or Anstey's on the charge, because Anstey now up into 9th place there in the red, just wheeling his way towards us in that fluorescent helmet, number 6. Spent a little bit of time with him this weekend. Really happy with the way that the bike's performing now. They've done a lot of testing since they came back from Brazil. He has a look over his shoulder there, sees the Kawasaki mounted Joel Roulance just behind him. They're running also, I'm not sure if it's pre-production or prototype air suspension units on the front fork, sorry. No springs in there, just air and oil. Only rider here this weekend using the air suspension from Kai Arbour, but they've done a lot of work with them. And they seem happy with the way that those front forks are working. Bit of electronic work as well gone on. And just behind his bar pad, actually, they've got normal riders or riders in the past have had like an on-off switch, one setting or two settings, where they can give the bike a little bit more power in, for the start or for the sand or better traction or whatever, take the edge off. But they've got 10 settings on their little dial just behind the bar pad area, just above the tank. Have the Honda Garibaldi Ester team. Just see it poking back there a little bit actually. And obviously that's from a smooth power band to a pretty hard hitting power band. So at any point during the race, if Max needs a little bit more or a little bit less, then obviously they can opt to do that without having to come in or wait till the next moto to make further changes. So looking good at the moment though, Anstey, just here, number 6. In 9th place, going after Arnold Tonus, who's only about a second and a half ahead of him. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider from Switzerland. Back in his second Grand Prix, of course, after missing the first few rounds due to injury. There is Tonus, the other side of the golden tyre balloon. Down by pit lane, Max Anstey. Still got Joel Roulants giving him grief. Right, what's going on here with Hurlings? Just back markers. Oh, very lucky there. Hurlings not to run into the back of him and get collected, but he's got 11.5 seconds over his teammate. Tommy Searle, though, that gap coming down between Tommy Searle and Van Hoorbeek, now about 6 seconds. So in the next 12.5 minutes plus 2 laps, we could see Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Tommy Searle going at it for that second position and 22 points. His teammate there, meanwhile, Joel Roulants, still trying to close in on Max Anstey for 9th place. Hurlings just takes a quick look over his shoulder, opposite side of the track, to see exactly what's going on. See if he can get an eyeful of Tommy Searle, perhaps. He knows he's got the good distance between him and his teammate. Looking smooth, though, at the moment, is Jeffrey Hurlings here, our championship leader, race leader as well. First moto here in the 7th round. The Portuguese Grand Prix, FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. Took 2 second-place finishes here last year. Did Hurlings, won the overall Grand Prix. Tommy didn't score in moto number 1 and won the second race. Roxon won the first one, didn't score in the second one, so he was in the right place at the right time to win here. Last year was Hurlings. Picked up 44 points as well. That's his teammate, Van Hoorbeek, number 89, riding without goggles. Makes a mistake, gets stood up in that corner. Tommy Searle, we're waiting for him to come over the line, and well, that's longer than 6 seconds, worryingly. Yeah, it's gone back out. Tixier's now 3rd. Tommy Searle's dropped to 4th, so Tommy Searle has made a mistake on that lap. He goes out of 3rd position because 17 seconds down exactly is Jordi Tixier in 3rd place. Then Tommy Searle, almost another second further back in 4th, so an expensive lap for the... An expensive lap there for the Floride Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider, Tommy Searle. And this is him here, closing back in on the 911, Jordi Tixier. Tries to go to the inside to rectify that mistake. Tixier triples his way up. Has to be careful of the back marker, number 12, Simone Zecchina. Tommy Searle gets caught right behind him there, unfortunately, at the top of the hill. Zecchina had nowhere to go. And Tommy Searle riding without goggles as well, probably more out of frustration. Sometimes when you go down, the goggles take a little bit of dirt inside the lens. Or has he still got them on? Can't quite see. Yeah, he's still got them on, actually. On the charge, though, look at the body language from Tommy Searle. He can't afford to lose too many points, certainly not 5. Oh, Tixier all over the place through the uphill wave section. Tries to get it back on track, and Searle sides his way through, gives him absolutely nowhere to go. He's back in 3rd position. Now he's got a problem with the tear-offs there, look. He'll give that another good pull in just a moment. That flapping on the side of the helmet there. First opportunity, maybe the little tabletop. Just here. Watch Tixier here. This just loses a front. Does well to save that, actually, Tixier. Doesn't exactly know where Tommy Searle is. Tries to dive back across. Tommy Searle already airborne. could have been an interesting moment. But Tommy Searle now back in third. So with 9:04 left on the clock, plus 2 laps, Jeffrey Hurling's now 12.2 seconds clear of Van Hoorbeek. Tommy Searle another 16 seconds further back. Tixier now 4th, Tellier 5th. Jake Nichols, who we're looking at on screen here, number 45. He's cleared his teammate Glenn Koldenoff by about 2.5, 3 seconds, something like that. But he's still, 7 seconds down on Valentin Tellier. Nichols' lap time last time around at 2:02.2. Valentin Tellier 2 minutes, 0.478. Tonus now in 8th place, Anstey 9th. Anstey closing in on Arnold Tonus now, just 2 seconds between the Swiss Monster Energy Yamaha rider and the English Honda Garibaldi Ester rider. They're going to be fighting over 8th position pretty soon, it looks like. Joel Roulant has lost a little bit of ground. He's 5 seconds now behind Max Anstey in 10th. Petrov just here on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki 152. He's in 11th place. And he's in a battle with Romain Febvre. The Bodo Schmidt Motorsport KTM rider. That's him there, 461, the Frenchman. Rode a round, actually, of the final round of the FIM World Supermoto Championship last year, did Febvre. As Tonus closing in on Koldenoff. Had to go the long way around. Going to have to do the same again here, it looks like. Maybe pull a Tommy Searle maneuver, squares off Koldenoff, though. Just riding defensively into that right-hander. Then drifts wide. But down onto the pit lane area. Arnold Tonus as we look at him on the right-hand side. Getting squeezed there by the 25, Koldenoff, who knows that certainly somebody maybe doesn't know that it's Tonus. He is closing in, and Anstey will be there any moment. He is, look, in the red, so there's a three-way battle now for 7th position, and it could go any way. We're going back down to pit lane.
Joining me in the pit lane, Jackie Martins of the Nissan JM Racing. Glenn Koldenoff's having a great race. He started out there in 3rd, 4th. He's just come back down. We can see Tonus really trying to bite his heels.
Yeah, for me it's nice to see him riding like the place he has to ride. After his injury in Valkenswaard, it takes some time to come back. But now this is Glenn's place, and now we can only improve after his injury.
Yeah, good to see Jackie Martins down there, and also both his team riders, or 2 of them anyway, as we look at Max Anstey there in the bright helmet, dropping off the step down over the far side under the Monster Energy bridge that leads out to the furthest point on the racetrack. Final furthest corner there, that's the 34. Joel Roulant's just coming through here. He looks to have closed back in on Max Anstey. That's 12, that's Sakina. He's a lap down on the JTEC Yamaha. Roulant's riding without goggles as well. 5.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Once again, Tonus this time does get the drive around the outside and finds a way through. And goes through on the Nissan JM Racing KTM rider, Jake Nichols, that was. So coming over the finish line one more time, Hurling's 12 seconds clear, Van Hoorbeek 2nd, Tommy Searle 3rd, Tixier 4th, Tellier 5th, Nichols, Tonus, Koldenoff. So Nichols still there in 6th then. Difficult to differentiate between the 2 Nissan riders. There's Tonus going through. It's Koldenoff, Anstey just behind him, getting ready to wind up and make a move on the young Dutch rider. Tonus already ahead of, there he is going out of the corner. So Tonus now into 7th position. Just looking at Glenn Coldenhoff here, 25, trying to keep it nice and tight. Bottom of the hill, see the lines pushing out all the time. Getting up over the triple jump there, gaining a lot of time though was a 34. The Fluid Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki of Joel Roulance. He's right back on the rear wheel of Max Anstey. Now, is that 600 or 300? Might be the 600 actually, yeah. 300 actually, Golovkin. Oh, mighty close there, almost got his ankles taken out as one of the riders came through, so that's on the uphill wave section. But Jeffrey Hurlings, he'll be loving this. Softer conditions, back out in front, 15 seconds clear. He's got his teammate riding shotgun for him. Unfortunate that. Tommy Searle going for a little bit of track, just caught Golovkin there. So Tommy Searle taking no prisoners on the way through. Tixier still only about a second and a half behind him though, so he hasn't given up the fight. Jordi Tixier. Looking for his best race finish of the year, actually, down there in fourth at the moment. Had a fifth in Italy. Tonkov with that fractured elbow. Tough weekend for him. See Giacomo Garibaldi just walking over towards the timing screen. We heard actually in the team report, start of the program, that is that Tommy Searle. Back end just stepping out at the wrong moment. Still pushing on though is Tommy Searle. 2:02.0. Still 2 seconds slower last time than Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Just doing his best to try and stay ahead of Jordi Tixier now. That's him at the bottom of the hill, Tixier. So Searle can't really afford to relax in the remaining few laps of this first MX2 race. Anstey, meanwhile, just keep an eye on him on the timing screen. Looks to be closing in still on Coldenhoff. There is Tixier, looking at his best ever finish in MX2. There's him there, 911. Red Bull KTM factory rider goes over the line now to complete his 16th lap. And the gap between him and Tommy Searle has opened up actually to almost, well, we'll say 3.5 seconds. Here's Roulance, Tommy Searle's teammate though, closing in on Coldenhoff, which means Anstey's gone through. Or has he? No, Roulance has gone past Anstey. So at the moment then, Hurlings leads from Van Hoorbeek, Tommy Searle third, Tixier fourth, Valentin Tellier is fifth, Nichols is sixth, Tonus is seventh, Glenn Coldenhoff in eighth, Roulance ninth, Anstey down in 10th place, so he was knocking on the door there to find a way past Glenn Coldenhoff to go eighth, and he's lost a couple of positions. Has the Garibaldi rider. You just saw him there popping up in the view, so not sure if he just dropped it in a corner or ran wide somewhere. So was looking at 13 points, now looking at 11 points, Max Anstey. As Coldenhoff dives down the inside of a back marker, there's Roulance getting a face full of roost on the approach to the triple. Obviously couldn't get over at that moment. But Hurlings already a minute clear of this particular battle. Goes over the line now actually, so opposite ends of the racetrack for our race leader Jeffrey Hurlings and Joel Roulance here at 34, who's currently there in 9th position ahead of Max Anstey, Petr Petrov, Mel Pocock and Roman Fevre. Harry Kulas has popped up into the points the last few laps. He's now in 14th ahead of Jose Boutron, Valentin Guyot, Nick Larson, Kenny Van Duren, Evan Havey and Jens Getterman. Pushing on is Roulance, 34. Thinks he's got the speed to go past Glenn Coldenhoff to move himself up into 8th place. That's Roman Favourite, 461, dropping down the hill on the Bodo Schmidt Motorsport KTM. He's got Harry Kulas and Mel Pocock. Pocock making a move on Kulas here, 119. On Petrov, sorry. Using all the racetrack and more. Here's the Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Oh, brave move, Mel Pocock. Ran the outside of Petrov and goes into 11th. Wasn't going to be faced there by the Suzuki rider. Could have ended in tears, but he stuck at it. And Pocock storms into 11th position, the European MX2 Championship leader. Took those 2 victories last week, of course. That's Boutron here. Diga Racing KTM just having a quick pull of the tear off, or the roll off, sorry, as he comes through to start his final 2 laps of this first race. Boutron down 1 minute and 47 seconds down, so almost a full lap down on our race leader, who's lapping in 1:59s last time around. Tommy Searle was marginally quicker than Van Hoorbeek, but that gap too big for him to make up with just a lap or so, well, just a lap to go. Bales down, being destroyed in that second corner. Back marker not getting over the step down. We're looking at the rider on the step up now, Roman Febvre. He's in 13th position at the moment. Boutron just behind him. Harry Kulas in there as well, just a little bit further around the corner. Well, that's him there, sorry. Just dropping off now on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe MX2 machine. The 151, the Finnish rider. So he's coming up to challenge Roman Febvre. Febvre at 13th at the moment as we look at Jeffrey Hurlings, our race leader. Dropping downhill for the final time. Up into what should be the wave section. Nicely through there, still getting up on top. Locking everything up and make sure he gets it nice and tight through there. Steps down. It's been a pretty dominant display from the number 84, Jeffrey Hurling, 17-year-old Dutch rider. And he's made it look so easy. He got a good start, stayed out of trouble. Picks his front wheel up, wheelies past pit lane and the KTM guys there. Through the final corner. And the Red Bull Factory KTM rider, Jeffrey Hurlings, takes victory number 1 here in Moto number 1 at Agueda in Portugal. And he will open up the points gap over his closest rival, Tommy Searle, to the tune of another 5 points. Waiting for Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Here he is now in the final turn. Hurling's teammate at KTM. He comes through, takes another 2nd place finish. He'll be pleased with that. Rider down from a previous lap. Can't quite see who that is either. But here's Hurlings. Here's our winner from race 1. And
you have the jersey, yeah?
Superstar. Okay, there we go. His practice mechanic Ruben telling him he's a superstar. So race 1 then finishes like this. Jeffrey Hurlings, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, Tommy Searle, Jordi Tixie 8, Valentin Tellier, Jake Nichols came home in 6th, Arnold Tonis 7th. We're waiting for Coldenhoff to come over the line, does so now in 8th. 9th should be Joel Roulance on the Kawasaki, and Max Anstey should be top 10. Just looking down at the timing screen there as we look in the wash area. Hurling's there to the right, Van Hoorbeek to the left. It looks like on my timing screen that maybe as Max Anstey does come over the line in 10th position. I was wondering if Hurling's actually lapped up to Pocock. I don't think he did. Still waiting for Pocock to come over the line in 11th. That was Tommy Searle just getting pushing out Golovkin as he just came into view and got in his way. That was Tonkov before he pulled out of the race, and obviously Hurling's before a rider fell in front of him in the closing stages as well. Difficult conditions out there. Riders without goggles, for instance. Here's the official result then. Hurlings wins it from Van Hoorbeek, Tommy Searle, Jordi Tixier, Valentin Tellier. They re top 5. Great ride for Jake Nichols in 6th ahead of Arnold Tonus. Likewise for him, and Glenn Koldenoff in 8th with Joe Roulots 9th. Max Anstey, unfortunate, dropping back to 10th in the closing stages. Pocock had a good scoring ride in 11th on the Monster Energy Yamaha ahead of Petrov, Jose Boutron, Roman Febvre, Harry Kulas, Valentin Guillot in the points in 16th. Nikolai Larsen, Kenny Van Duren, Jens Getterman and Simone Zecchina. Situation in the championship then. 295. Jeffrey Hurlings, Tommy Searle 268. So what's that? 27 points. It was 22 before we started here this weekend. Obviously Jeffrey Hurlings taking another 5 out of Tommy Searle by virtue of him winning the race and Tommy Searle coming home in 3rd. The difference between first and second, of course, 25 points, 22 points. And 20 points for first, second and third position. So Jeffrey Hurlings then officially declared as the race winner ahead of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Tommy Searle. Here he is.
Jeffrey, a muddy start to today. How was that first moto?
It was really good. You know, all I needed was a whole shot. That's what I didn't do in Brazil, and luckily I made it happen today. We made a million of starts, so finally paid off again. You know, heads off to Tommy and Jeremy, especially Jeremy rode really well in the race, and also with Tommy, you know, we made a clean start, and I'm really happy for that. And heads off to him, and made it get to Tommy 5 points bigger again, and hope to win the second moto. You know, the first moto was really good. Hope to do the same second moto, but got to give it up to Red Bull KTM Racing Team. They did a great job, and thank you everybody who's been supporting me after what happened last week. Many people hate me for what has happened, but you know, it's like this now, and I'm sorry for what has happened. And yeah, hope to do the same second one and come out with a win.
Congratulations, we'll see you second race.
Yeah, good ride from Jeffrey Hurlings. It was mentioned earlier as well, the apologies in the press conference yesterday. And also him and Tommy have had a word as well to say, look guys, let's just keep it clean. You know, I don't want to take you out, you don't want to take me out. Let's just get on with it and just focus on the racing. And as he said there, he got a better jump and got a good start. But let's have a look behind the scenes at LRT Motorsports with Julian Lieber.
C'est vrai que pour nous, en étant un petit team, ce n'est pas très facile.
Yeah, it's true for us that being a small team, it's not easy to fight with the big teams.
Déjà qu'on n'a pas les mêmes
nor do we have the same equipment, engine or other parts.
et autres.
I must say that in MX2 World Championship for my son Julian, at the moment it's going pretty well. At the moment he's getting some good results. At the beginning of the season,
pour l'instant. Au
He
début
was
de
crashing
l'année,
pretty
il est
much, but
tombé
now it's
souvent.
going a little bit
Maintenant,
better.
je pense que ça va un tout petit peu mieux. Dommage
It's
que pour mon,
pity for
pour
my other
mon
son, Cedric,
fils aîné, Cédric,
because
que
he
pour
can't
lui,
ride this
il n'a
year.
pas
He's been
su,
getting injured
il ne
quite
peut
a
pas
few
rouler
times
cette
now.
année.
But
Parce
for the
qu'il s'est
season,
blessé
he's taking a
plusieurs
break,
fois
and after
déjà.
that, we'll see what he's going to do
Maintenant,
for
il
next
fait
year.
un break cette année. Il verra l'année prochaine ce qu'il va faire exactement.
Cedric, we haven't seen you riding at any of the GPs this year. Why is that?
It's because I had a big crash in La Capelle motocross, and I hurt my shoulder there, so right now it's not sure if I can ride the rest of the season.
And so if you're not riding, what will you be doing this season?
I will continue to train and help my brother for the GPs.
And do you have an idea what you'll be doing next year?
Yeah, next year I don't know, because I already had a lot of injuries, so I will train, and if it don't work, I think I don't gonna ride anymore, so we will see.
Julian, you've already taken more points this year than in the 2011 championship. What's making the difference?
Oh, I don't know, but last year I crashed many times, and this year also I ride in Mexico and Brazil. And yeah, I train a lot this year to make better results. And
in the French GP, you took your best result yet.
Yeah, it was a great GP. The track was really good, the bike also, and I feel good on this track. And yeah, I make 12 and 14, I think, and I have 2 good starts, and yeah.
So what is the plan for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I will try to ride smarter, faster, and take some better starts. Hope we finish in the top 15 of the end of the year, and yeah, make some good results during the rest of the year.
Here's what happened, MX2 race 1. Tommy Searle didn't get a good jump. That allowed Jeffrey Hurlings to do exactly that and come across. Jake Nichols railed the outside of the turn, came out in around about 6th position, and that's pretty much where he stayed throughout the race. Tommy Searle and Jordi Tixier, though, as Searle went into 3rd position. Tixier wasn't having any of it and made it very difficult for the Kawasaki rider. Elsewhere out on track, Jeffrey Hurlings almost ran into a few problems as he was stretching out his lead over his teammate Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, a rider falling in front of him, one of the local riders. Tixier, though, he found himself back into 3rd after Tommy Searle made a mistake, and then the role was switched as Searle found himself going around the outside of Tixier as he failed or wrestled with the machine. Tommy Searle then was in no mood for playing games, and one of the back markers found himself coming under attack as he tried to forge his way towards the rear wheel of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. But the checkered flag went out. It was a win for Jeffrey Hurlings, and he opens up his points lead at the top of the championship table. And that's 8 wins now for Jeffrey Hurlings in the 2012 FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship season. MX1 riders down there getting ready for their first race. They're down in the waiting zone at the moment. Looks like the weather has cleared, and we'll be back with that in just a moment.